Google and Apple are under the microscope now by Japanese regulators. I think everybody here knows that, if you have a Google or an Apple phone, you are somewhat restricted to the software that you can download. And people who are producing applications for these phones, either for the Android or for the iPhone, they have to jump through several hoops, and they have to get authorization from Apple or Google to be listed as a provider on their sites. The Japanese Antitrust Authority has gone after both companies as practicing monopolistic tendencies, and they put together a panel. It was actually a big topic of conversation just this last week, and I know it's been a topic of conversation in other geographies in the United States as well. But now they're coming down pretty hard. They're forcing Google and Apple to open up their protocols and to let competing vendors not only have their wares on Google and Apple appliances, but also to prevent them from having preferential treatment to their homegrown applications. So, for example, when you buy your phone, you start it up. There are a bunch of apps that are automatically loaded. Those are usually, excuse me, native apps to Google or to Apple, and you just start your interaction with your cell phone with those applications already going. So they've said you have to stop that. And also for these applications that want to sell services or some kind of new feature, Google, not Google Maps, but maybe their map preference or their map applications, they have to go through the provider payment system. And it prevents it. Not only does it mean that they have to pay a premium for that because they're not Google, they're not Apple, they are a third-party provider. Maybe they're not a preferred vendor. So it increased the cost. It really restricts people from participating in that market. And with Google and Apple having such a stranglehold over the iPhone market, even in Japan, I don't know if you've followed this, but even in Japan, the homegrown phones here are just not up to muster. They are being crushed by Apple and Google. And given the trends, they just won't exist. It'll only be Apple and Android in very near term. So I think this is why the administrators are jumping on the bandwagon and considering these regulations. So this is coming down the path. There will be regulations that are being produced right now. They had a meeting on Friday, and they also published that they will be taking these rules and regulations that they're kind of chewing on now and submitting that as a bill for a law in the next diet session. So we're in diet session number 155 now. And as I said, constitutionally, the diet needs to open up in January. So they've already telegraphed that come January, in the next session, the next 120-day session of the diet, they are going to be promoting legislation to clamp down on these two providers.